Hey guys, what's up? This is Swordfish, and today, finally, Tales of Zestiria is here. The wait is over, and we have all been dying to play this thing for a long time. I mean, I remember like 2 years ago when the game was first announced for a Japanese release, it looked awesome. It looked really good. And then like I'm watching trailers, I'm like, oh man, can't wait to get this. It's gonna be a long while before we get it, but oh my god, and it's here. It's finally fucking here, and I can't believe it. I'm like so ecstatic that I couldn't believe that I was holding the controller and playing the game. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe that I was sitting down with my PS4. I got the PS4 version. I was holding the PS4 controller, and then like I was physically playing it. I could not believe it. I haven't felt that specific way since I played the Final Fantasy 15 demo, which is also awesome, by the way. Just you should check that shit out. That was good demo. So anyway, but we're here to talk about Tales of Zestiria. Give you a little history lesson. Zestiria, when it was released in Japan, was not met with favorable reviews. Yeah, it was not met with favorable reviews at all. It was actually considered by most people to be one of the worst Tales games in many, many years, actually. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, I mean, it might have its flaws, sure, but, I mean, is it going to be, like, on the same level of bad as, like, Tales of Legendia or Tales of the Tempest? It can't be that bad. I mean, so when the game was announced for American release, I was like, you know, there are some flaws that sound like they'd be pretty troublesome, and then, you know, I don't know, and then I was like, you know, I think at the very, very worst, this will probably just be a mid-tier Tales game, at worst, at the very worst. That's like if, you know, that. So when the game finally came out, I was like, oh man, I'm afraid. What if this game sucks? It's like I was starting to get like not cold feet, but I was kind of getting a little hesitant. I was like, it's almost here. Maybe it does suck. Oh man, that would not be good. I spent $130 on the collector's edition. So, but anyway, enough with the rambling. Now I can tell you my first impressions on Tales of Zestiria. I'm about 15 hours into the game, and I don't usually do these, so I don't know how I want to start. I will say this. The game is awesome. There you go. The game is pretty damn good so far. I guess we'll start from the beginning. Story. The story started off like really slow. Like, it was started off really standard. The thing is already, back in like January, I can't speak. I had already watched the OVA. Though at first I thought the OVA was actually a prequel at the time, but it turns out that the OVA was actually it covers like the first like 2 hours of the game ish. So it was actually like in like that. So when I started the game, I was like, oh, I know this already. Funnily enough, the OVA came with the collector's edition with the English dub, so I could watch it like that. So that's pretty cool, because obviously I had to watch it in Japanese last time. The first 2 hours of the game was basically that OVA. It was actually amazing how faithful that OVA was, that Ufotable was able to do that. So that was cool. So basically I already knew what I was getting myself into. And Zestiria actually went back to a medieval world, like in the past Tales games, because in Xillia, and more so Xillia 2, it's much more technologically advanced. Because in Xillia 2, the majority of the game takes place on Olympius, which is like, you know, when you play Xillia 2, there's like cell phones and televisions and things like that. So I've always liked that setting. I always like modern settings, but it is what it is. I'm neutral to that sort of thing anyway. So if that's your cup of tea, if you prefer the medieval style, then there you go. You got medieval. You happy? Okay. So that's fine and all. You got like swords, magic, knights, princesses, all that good stuff. So that's cool. Even though the setting itself is kind of standard, I will admit that the premise is actually pretty interesting. So you got the main character Sorey. Thank God that's how you pronounce it. This whole time I thought it was going to be Sorry. I would refuse to call him that if that was the pronunciation. I would not call him Sorry. I would refuse. You could not pay me money to call him Sorry. So the main character Sorey. Thank God. He is a human who lives among these spiritual type beings called seraphs or seraphim, whatever the plural is. Like, it feels like the game can't make up its mind what the plural pronunciation is. But he lives with seraphs, which are, like I just said, these like angelic type spiritual beings. But the thing is, No normal human being can see them or sense them in any sort of way. Well, Saray has honed his abilities and inner abilities. He became what is known as the shepherd, and he can like guide the seraphs. I don't want to go too much into detail because that would take way too long. But the idea of the humans and the seraphs kind of coexisting is actually a pretty cool idea. At least I think so. Um, throughout the majority of the game, when you meet new characters, they can't see the seraph. So it's actually kind of funny because Saray will be talking to like some NPC during a cutscene, and then the seraphs are like in your party are like kind of just fucking around, like, Saray, tell him to say this, tell him to say this, and Saray's just ignoring him because like he's like, if I talk to Mikleo, I'll look like a lunatic. I'll look like I'm talking to air. So I'm like, that's actually a pretty amusing and pretty cool idea. So the premise with the humans and the seraphs I like. I think that's pretty cool. The story itself started off really, really slow. There were a few good parts. Like there was that one part, excuse me, by the way, there was that one part, I think his name was Lunar, something like that. He was like literally eating the flesh of this seraph. I was like, oh my god, this is fucked up. Like, I was like, Jesus Christ, I was not expecting the game to go in that direction, to be that dark, and, you know, it's not, the game so far isn't dark like that the whole time, but there are bits of pretty dark parts here and there, but this isn't, don't expect a Zillia 2 or Abyss level of bleakness or anything like that. So, but that part was cool. After that, it kind of slowed down a little bit. It was very obvious that the game was building stuff up. It was very obvious that it was still a lot of world building, all that kind of stuff, and I was starting to get kind of bored, but by the time I was actually, but just as soon as I was getting bored, there was actually a plot twist. I was like, ooh, shit. Shit just got real now. So once that plot twist happened, it was about 5 or maybe 6 hours into the game-ish. By the time that plot twist was revealed, I was like, oh shit, this is good. The game finally caught my attention. So just give it a little bit of time if you decide to play the game, and you will be into it. Now, I still don't think the storytelling is as good as something like Tales of the Abyss, for example, which is my favorite Tales game, and I think it has the best storytelling in the entire franchise. Personally, that's just me. It's not on that level, but it's still very, very solid now. Now that I saw that plot twist, and the game seems to, for the most part, have a consistent pace at this point. If it can keep this up, I'll say, wow, this is a overall pretty damn solid story. So right now I'm enjoying it. Thankfully, that slow part didn't last very long. This isn't like, it's funny, like in Tales of Symphonia, for example, that slow start, which is literally like 15 hours into the game, I was falling asleep. Like, even though Zestiria started off slow, at least I wasn't falling asleep. In Symphonia, I was playing, I'm like, whoa. I'm just like, I'm just dozing off, so I like Symphonia, though, don't get me wrong, but anyway, so that's thankfully the game did get better. Hopefully it keeps up this pace because it's been pretty consistent. Here's the thing about this game. Because now we're moving on to the characters. I want to say this: the characters are awesome. This is one of my favorite casts of characters in any Tales game, by far, bar none. This is like Vesperia tier. This is like Zillia tier cast of characters. And even Saray, who is actually my least favorite character, he's not a bad character. He's just kind of like your typical overly nice guy. But even then, he's not a bad guy at all. He's not a bad character. But the rest of them, oh my god, I love them. And like Edna, best girl. Got a Skype notification. Okay, ignore. So Edna, best girl. Like, when I watched the opening, like, of the trailers and stuff when the game came out, I was, like, pointing at Edna. I was like, best girl. Edna is my waifu. Edna is my waifu, for sure. Now that I actually see her not in person, but you know what I mean, in the game itself, yeah, Edna's my waifu. Now, speaking of waifus, while we're at it, there is all you guys who are a Tales fan, and you automatically know what I'm going to talk about, is the character Alicia. Alicia was, at first, what we thought was going to be the main heroine of the game. She was heavily advertised as such. In the game, she was portrayed as being the main heroine. 10 hours into the game, she leaves your party for good. And here's the thing. Alicia, before Edna joined my party, Alicia wasn't my favorite character. I'm not going to lie. And it's funny because since I already knew about that problem, Before I knew about that problem, I was getting ready to not be attached to Alicia. I was like, don't like her. You will not like her. Hate Alicia. Hate Alicia. And then I'm like 10 minutes into the game, I'm like, Alicia's my waifu. That's what I thought. I was like, God fucking damn it. I couldn't believe it. I was so mad at myself for letting myself like Alicia. So, admittedly, yes, seeing her go was a little bit irritating. Now, the thing is, it wasn't even that she went. Well, partly. It wasn't that she went that really bothered me. It was how she went. That was what bothered me, was how she left the party. That was the big thing. I was like, oh man, you could have given like a really good reason. You could have killed her off or something big, but this? Okay. I mean, to be fair, I haven't beaten the game. This could be elaborated on. Like, as we speak, as of this video, like, the last part I saved, she had just left my party. Like, just left. That's it. So, maybe they elaborated on more, and maybe I'll be okay with it. And after I beat the game, I want to watch that Alicia story thing. But anyway, the reason I bring up Alicia is because I feel like in Japan, people were pissed off that their waifu, Alicia, was not in most of the game. And then they're like, oh, Amazon, 1 out of 5 stars. Oh, GameFAQs, 2 out of 10. Alicia's my waifu. Where's my waifu? I'm like, dude, grow the fuck up. I mean, it's a character in a video game. I mean, for fuck's sake. I mean, alright, I understand she's a good character and all, but Jesus Christ, I mean, chill your shit, man. I mean, God damn. I mean, you got, yeah, okay, sure, she's a great character, but you got a whole slew of other fantastic characters, like Edna. I cannot hype Edna enough. Edna is amazing. She is so devilishly trollish, and she is so fun to watch. So, this is like top 5, maybe top 3 cast of characters in a Tales series. Maybe. Top 5 for sure. Top 5 is guaranteed. Top 3, I would have to think about it. It's possible. It's very possible. Top 5 for sure. Hands down. So, anyway, excellent cast of characters. Solid story so far. English dub. See, I don't speak Japanese. I know there's a lot of dub haters out there that are like, oh, Japanese, FTW, English dubs suck. So I think that's an ignorant statement, for one. So I don't criticize Japanese voice acting because I for one, don't speak Japanese. And I can't tell you how well they're delivering their lines. I can't explain any of that because I've watched a lot of anime subbed, and the best I've done is picked up words. That's it. I know like about a dozen words, not sentences. No, just words. I can't even put them in a context in a Japanese sentence. So I can't criticize a Japanese voice actor. It's just not fair because I don't know. That's my philosophy. If you don't speak Japanese, you can't criticize it. You can't say, oh, this was well acted and this was not, unless you're a fluent Japanese speaker. So, English dub for Zestiria, one of the best in the series. Tales rarely ever disappoints in this regard. Anyway, I mean, you got Bis, Symphonia, Vesperia. Did I say Zillia already? Did I can't remember. I'm going to put Zillia in there again in case I didn't already say. So Zillia has an excellent English dub. Grace is also not the best, but very solid English voice cast. So here's the thing. I actually haven't heard of a lot of the voice actors for Zestiria, for the most part. I've heard of a few. Who did I hear of? Alicia was voiced by Alexis Tipton. Now, actually, a few of these voice actors in this game usually only do anime for the most part. So I was actually, I thought it was pretty cool that they were able to get some, them to do some video game roles. I thought that was pretty neat. So the girl that voices Lila, the character of Lila, she's voiced by the girl that did the voice of Casca from Berserk, and that was awesome. She was so good in Berserk. Oh my god, that's another. First of all, great show, by the way, and surprisingly, English dub that aged surprisingly well. But the fact that Berserk came out like 30 years ago. And then she came back to voice a character in the video game, and oh my gosh, she does great as Lila. Lila's one of my favorite characters anyway, but I don't know her voice actor's name. I'll have to look it up. But, oh, she did an excellent job. Alex, did I mention like I'm so I'm so flustered right now because I'm so hyped that the game is even out. So I'll go back to Alicia. I'm pretty sure I mentioned her just for a second, and I must have got distracted by Lila. So Alexis Tipton, she does the voice of Alicia. She is yet another voice actor in the game that mostly does anime, to my knowledge. I looked her up, and I only watched a few anime that she's in, and those anime she was like a very minor character, or I haven't watched that particular show in a long time, so I couldn't really pinpoint her voice that much, to be honest, because I just haven't heard her that often. But that's cool that she does. It's funny because a lot of people, myself included, when the first English dub trailer of Zestiria was released, I thought Alicia was going to be voiced by Laura Bailey. It sounded like Laura Bailey. I mean, when I listened to it, I was like, "Is that Laura Bailey?" Maybe it might. Maybe it is. Maybe it's not. I can't tell. But yeah, I thought it was Laura Bailey. Nope, Alexis Tipton. And even though Alicia wasn't in the game for too long, I'd say she leaves you about at the 10-hour mark ish. So, but from what I heard, Alexis Tipton, 2 thumbs up for great, excellent job. Mikleo sounds a little bit weird to me. He's the only one, like, he doesn't sound bad. I just want to clarify, he does not sound bad at all. He actually sounds a lot, not a lot, but fairly similar to Scott Manvell. If you don't know who that is, he did the voice of Lloyd Irving, Max from Dark Cloud 2. He did the voice of Robin from Teen Titans, and some others that I just can't remember. He did the voice of Zephyr from Resonance of Fate. So that's who it sounded like on the trailer. And then after you listen to it some more, you're like, that's not Scott Manvell. So I'm listening to it. I think I always thought that Mikleo should have been voiced by Jason Liebert. He did the voice of Capel from Men of Discovery, David from The Last Remnant, or David. No, it's David. Fuck you. I say it David. And I have some others I can't think of, but I always thought that Jason Liebert would be a good Mikleo. But this guy is not bad. He just sounds weird. Who else we got? Now, Saray. I've never heard of this guy. I looked him up. He's only ever been in like a dozen like things, like any voice acting at all. I'm listening to him like, this guy needs to be in more shit. This guy needs to be in more. My God, he delivers his lines like perfectly. I mean, how the hell do you do? Like, why aren't you in more anime and video games? So, guy that does Saray, I don't know what your name is. You get my applause. I think your name is like Robbie Diamond or something. Is that who it was? Robbie Diamond or right? I don't know. Something like that. I'm pretty sure I'm close. Who we also got the voice of Edna, best girl. I don't know her name. I looked her up. She did the voice. Oh, I forgot what her name was. She did a character from High School DxD. She was a short girl. She had I think silver hair. She was very monotone. Someone in the comments can type in what it is, because I can't, for the life of me, I cannot remember what her name is at all. For the life of me, I can't. It's going to drive me insane. But that was the main thing that I remember her from. And then, like, as Edna, perfect. So, exception of Mikleo, who, again, doesn't even sound bad. Oh, one more. I cannot believe I forgot to mention this, is the character of Rose. I know she joins our party. She has not joined my party yet at this point in the game, but she is voiced by Caitlin Glass, who did the voice of Winry from Full Metal Alchemist. Fucking yes! Caitlin Glass is like one of the best voice actors. I mean, Full Metal Alchemist is like one of the best English dubs I've ever heard in my life. And she did an excellent job. And the fact that she's Rose, and the fact that she's going to join my party, I get to hear Caitlin Glass in video game form and not anime form. I'm like, this is going to be awesome. So I'm really excited for Rose to join my party. So, excellent voice cast here. If you're a dub hater, you probably don't even care. You're probably just ignoring this. You're probably thinking, oh, there's no such thing as a good English dub. Fuck you. You don't know what you're talking about. So, that's just me. I think fantastic. Fantastic guys. Voice actors. Excellent. Moving on. Music. Not anything special. Here's the thing about the music. I wanted to like this soundtrack so bad. I wanted to like it. Here's the thing, is I like Motoi Sakuraba and all. I do. For example, Batten Kaido's soundtracks, awesome. Star Ocean, awesome. Hell, even Tales of Zestiria, which a lot of people seem to not like that soundtrack for some reason. I don't know what the fuck that's about, but Zestiria 1 and 2 soundtrack, awesome. What else? I mean, I haven't played the game, but I listened to some of the Dark Souls soundtrack. Beautiful. And then for the Tales series, I actually read in an interview that they restrict him to a specific style. And I'm like, why would you do that? I mean, listen to Batten Kaitos, for example. I mean, why would you not want that quality of music in your franchise of this magnitude? Why wouldn't you want that? Why would you restrict him to a specific style? So, I don't know why, but it feels like they let him do his own thing for the Zestiria games. And then now they're like, we take it back. No, we take it back. We're done. You now do your generic. Just sound really generic now. So the thing is, they got Sakuraba for the soundtrack, as well as Go Shina, who did the voice, the soundtrack for Tales of Legendia. And while I do think that Tales of Legendia is a steaming pile of dog shit, I wipe my ass with Tales of Legendia, but the soundtrack is awesome, and the soundtrack did not deserve to be in that game. I actually feel bad for Go Shina for wasting his talents on such a piece of shit. But and now here, the reason I bring that up is because considering how, for whatever reason, Sakuraba dropped the ball for Zestiria, the Sakuraba to Go Shina ratio is insane. He does like 9 out of every 10 songs in Zestiria is a Sakuraba song, and with the exception of 2, with the sole exception of not 1, but only 2 songs in this game, I do not like any of Sakuraba's tracks. And then they play a Go Shina track here and there. I'm like, what the fuck? Why wouldn't you let him do more? I don't understand. Why you were... And then I go on YouTube, I listen to more of Go Shina's soundtracks. I'm like, you know what? Go Shina should do the entire soundtrack for Tales of Berseria. I hate that name, by the way. But he should do the soundtrack for the next Tales game, Berseria. Hands down. Either that or let Sakuraba do his own thing, because when he does, he's ridiculously good at it. Why would you restrict him to a very generic sounding style? I don't understand. That makes no sense to me. The logic there is well beyond flawed. Jesus. So, the soundtrack, I want to like it. If there were more Go Shina tracks in it, I would be like, this is awesome. This, like, I was listening to the Go Shina tracks, I'm like, this soundtrack has Legendia fucking beat in terms of soundtrack. Nope. Nope. What a shame. What a shame. Oh, God. So, graphics, it looks okay. The character models are decent enough. I didn't like the design at first, but it grew on me, so I'm okay with the design now. Again, I mentioned this before, I love Edna's design. Alicia's design is nice. She looks really good. I don't know, now that I think about it, I can't really think of any complaints with it. I guess Zavid, is that how you say it? Zavid looks a little bit weird. He's walking around with, he's got like an 8-pack, and he's like not wearing a shirt. I'm like, what's he doing? So, I only met him one time in the game. He seems like a really fun, crazy dude. So, getting off that, now we have the gameplay. The combat is essentially a hybrid of Graces and Zestiria. It takes the best of both of those games and just like meshes them into one thing, and then they also sprinkle in their own little mechanics here and there to spice it up. So what makes it like Graces is this: it's not called CC this time; it's called SC, Spirit Chain. It's very much like the CC system, except everyone has a fixed SC rank of 100, and every art that you use consumes a certain amount of SC. What else? You also have A arts and B arts, except just under a different name. A arts are martial arts, and B arts are called hidden arts. So that's that. They also included the sidestepping that Graces had, so that's another Graces feature. I can't remember if I'm missing any. Zestiria features. You can link up with a party member, kind of. You can only link up with a Seraph party member, and I'm trying to explain it. I can't think of a way to explain it. It's more or less like the linking system from Zestiria. That's basically what I'm saying. You link up with a Seraph, they kind of do their own thing, and then you can fuse with them, and then you can have Saray fuse with Edna, for example, and then they'll become one giant entity. For a specific amount of time. And actually, this is really cool because depending on who you fuse with, your moveset is completely different. So if you fuse with Edna, you become an all-out brawler. If you fuse with Miglio, you become a ranged fighter, use a bow and arrow. And if you fuse with Lila, you become a battle mage. So and the moveset for all of these different fusions is completely different from each other, and it's really fun to experiment with them. I think it's a lot of fun. Edna is this has nothing to do with Edna being my waifu, by the way. I just want to point that out. Edna is my favorite to fuse with because she's very fast when you fuse with her, and again, I like the all-out brawler style because when you fuse with her, she gets these giant floating fists over her shoulders, and you can just beat the shit out of enemies over and over again. That's a blast to do. So you can kind of think as the fusion system as your link darts, like in Xillia, kinda. And here's another cool feature too: is that there are 4 seraphs in the game and 2 humans. You have Saray and Rose. Alicia, I'm not going to count Alicia. And then your 4 seraphs are Miglio, Edna, Lila, and then I haven't gotten him yet, but you get a guy named Dezel, or Diesel. Dezel, that's what it was, Dezel. I haven't gotten him in my party yet, but what's cool is that when your two humans are on the field, both your humans are linked with 1 seraph, and you could switch which seraph you're linked with on the fly with the press of the D-pad. So let's say you have Miglio as your linked seraph. Let's say he's really low on health, or let's say he even gets killed in battle. Instead of wasting a life bottle on him, and wasting apple gels and other healing items on him, you could actually switch to another seraph right out there on the fly, and Miglio will recover health slowly. So, crap, my computer went on screensaver there for a second. Sorry about that. That's really cool. What else? There's a lot of very small intricacies that I have a hard time really understanding. I'm still getting the hang of it. Here's the thing about this game. There is a huge learning curve. It is insane how complex, not just the combat, but all the gameplay mechanics are. I'm 15 hours into this game. I'm extremely confused about a lot of this. So the combat is I think I do. I can't talk again. I think that Zestiria so far has my favorite combat system of any Tales game. Now, I would say that Graces has a smoother combat system, and just it feels smoother when you play. But Zestiria has just much more mechanics, has many more mechanics to it to make it better for you to really sink your teeth into, because there's just a lot more to keep track of here. And it's a really fun battle system. Here's the thing, though, is that when you first start the game, it's kind of like Graces Syndrome, like in the childhood arc, where all you're doing is just, you have the controller, you're just going, just pressing the attack button over and over again. That's it. There's no substance to the combat at all whatsoever, and it's sleep-inducing. But once you get titles and you learn new arts and skills, and there's just much more to keep track of. You learn your B arts, or hidden arts. I'm sorry, I'm so used to calling them B arts from Graces. It becomes a lot more involving. What's different about Graces, or what's different about this game from Graces, rather, is the way the SC meter works. And that you can't keep using your moves until you run out of SC. You actually have a combo cap. You can only do 4 attacks unless you equip a skill that lets you extend that. You can only do 4 attacks before having to stop your combo. And what you can do, though, is that you have this thing called a blast gauge. And it's like a circular meter, kind of like the Chromatus, actually, from Xillia 2, where it fills up in a clockwise fashion. And there's a 1 or a 2 and a 3 and 4. It can go up to 4 levels. And then it goes 1 and then 2, etc., etc. And then once you get at least 1 blast gauge, if you hold down the R2 button when you're doing the 3rd hit of your combo, you can extend your combo. And you can do this as many times as you want, as long as you have the amount of blast required. So there's actually some more thought that has to go into it than Graces. Not to say that Graces you could just mindlessly button mash it. You can't. That'll get you killed. But there's more to think about here, and I really appreciate that. The skill system is way beyond my understanding. I mean, this is like Vesperia on crack and steroids and just every possible physical enhancement drug that you can think of. This is the most convoluted system I've seen in a long time. Now, I'm kind of getting the hang of it. Kind of. I'm barely understanding it than I did the first time. That's the thing, is the tutorials do not help you at all. Like, you have the skill sheet and the skill slots and the weapon, weapon fusion I understand just fine, but like the skill carrying over skills and skill unions and groups and what the fuck is going on? I don't even get it. I don't know what's going on. So I wish I could explain my thoughts on it, but I really just don't get it. Unless someone in the comments could like give like a really simple, helpful guide to understanding this, because I'm just equipping the best gear. That's all I'm doing. I'm just equipping what gives me the highest stats at this point. I gave up trying to understand it, to be honest. So that's it for that. I guess one of the other things is here's the thing. Getting off the combat and the systems is that the game gives you a big open world, but here's my problem with this open world is that in each map is absolutely gigantic. That's not the problem. The thing is, there are only 2, max 3 locations per map, and on these maps there is nothing to do on them except for find these stones and find these little they call them Normans, and you find like herbs and stuff. But the thing is, that's just finding the stuff. You don't really get rewarded enough for exploring. At least I don't think so. I never felt like I gained anything except from finding some enemies and getting extra experience. And I feel the thing is, the giant maps are just an illusion. That's all they are. The giant maps in this game are just there to trick you into thinking that you have freedom, when this is, believe it or not, this is actually one of the most linear Tales games I've played. When you break it down, if you take away all the layers of fat on each map, what you have is a hallway. I'm sorry, all you have is a hallway. This is actually a really linear game. Don't be fooled by the big maps. It's not an open world by any means of the imagination. It's not. It's not even close to being an open world. I mean, people criticize Graces for being linear. What the fuck? I mean, Graces has, like, just, there's more to do in Graces, and, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I wish there was more substance to these maps, because I feel like I'm just aimlessly wandering. I don't like that. I will admit that this open world does give you a better sense of scope. I'll give it that much. But that's just there to fuck with your mind. It tricks. That's why I hate it when people say, like, oh, Final Fantasy has always been open world, or Tales games have always been open world. No, they haven't. They have never been open world. These overworld maps are there just to fuck with you, just to trick you into thinking you have freedom, and that's what this is. This is just a standard overworld map, except it's just like from a it's not from a bird's eye view like a lot of other RPGs. It's like played from a back view, so that kind of gives you yet another even more grand sense of scope, and that's fine. It's just there's nothing to do in these fields, and you can't go where you want when you want, because if you could, that would be open world. Like, whenever you go to like a forest, for example, it'll say, oh, we can't be here right now. We have to go to this town. That's because the game is linear. The game is restricting where you can go until the story says you can go there. That's the thing. And people seem to not understand that. So, I appreciate that they try to make it feel more grandiose, or whatever. I don't even know how you say that word. I appreciate that. But it's just an illusion. So, and here's the thing too, is I feel that this is a waste of opportunity, because I'm 15 hours in, I have not seen one side quest. You'd think I'd see one by now. Are there side quests in this game? I mean, whenever you go to the map of an area and you press the triangle button to open the legend, it'll say, oh, here's a star represents the main story progression. Okay, here's an exclamation point. That represents a sub-episode is what they call it. I've seen one sub-episode, and that wasn't even a sub-episode. The game was just fucking with me, because it was a Turtles dude, and it had an exclamation point on his head. I was like, oh, finally, a side quest. Then I talked to him, it opened up a shop menu, and then that was it. So I was like, what the fuck was that? How'd you fuck with me like that? So that is a criticism. Another another point. This is one of the only complaints that, aside from the maps, that I feel are valid by Japan, because again, they're just mad that their waifu is not in most of the game. Is the camera is absolutely fucking terrible. This is Kingdom Hearts 1 bad. No, this is worse than Kingdom Hearts 1 level of camera. I would kill for Kingdom Hearts 1. Now, when I say this, excuse me, when I say this, I'm specifically talking about battle. Any other place the camera is perfectly fine, but in battle, the camera is a nightmare to deal with. And especially when you encounter an enemy in a tight space. That's the thing. They made no battle transitions. That's fine. But the thing is, once you enter a battle, it's kind of like .hack GU, and then you have a barrier surrounding you. And it locks you into a specific environment. And if you encounter an enemy in a tight space, in a hallway, the camera's going to go absolutely batshit crazy on you. And it makes some battles like a chore. But what else is there to talk about? I think that's it, actually. What's funny is that this was a first impressions, and this went on longer than any review I've ever done on my channel. I mean, you have my Zillia 2 review that's 15 minutes, and that's me explaining the game that I'd beaten. I haven't beaten this fucking game, and I'm sitting here just rambling for, what does the timer say? 36 minutes I've been talking. So, thanks for sticking around, I guess, if you've even watched this far. Overall, aside from the camera, empty maps, no side quests, no side quests that I've seen anyway. Overall, I could see this being a contender for one of the best Tales games that I've played in a while. So far, I think it's better than... No, it's better than Symphonia. It's leagues better than fucking Legendia. Oh my god, that thing is cancer on a disc. It's better than... believe it or not, I actually do like Symphonia Dawn of the New World. In case you guys don't know, I do like Dawn of the New World, but I think that Zestiria might have an edge over that. Maybe. I'm not sure yet, because Dawn of the New World it's a game special to me. So I do like that game. So I don't know yet. We'll see if Zestiria can top that. It's not as good. Is it better than Grace's? I don't know if it's better than Grace's. I would say that I like the cast of Grace's a lot. Don't get me wrong, but I think that Zestiria has a stronger cast. So it has that. I think Zestiria has better combat, despite it being a little bit slower. There's just more depth to it. I could see this being better than Grace's. It probably will be. Yeah, I'm sorry. It's late. It's not better than Abyss, is my favorite Tales game. So far, it's not better than Zillia 1 and 2, which are tied for my second favorite Tales games. What am I missing? It's better than Hearts R, which I'm not really that into that much. I still have to beat that, by the way. I think that's it. I have played some other Tales games. I played some of Destiny. I played a little bit of Eternia, but I'm not including those because I have not beaten those. I played about half of Hearts. That's why I mentioned that one. I played a lot of Innocence, the DS version, with an English patch on my PC, so that one's okay. I would much rather play Innocence R. So I would say Zestiria is definitely, for sure, an above-average game. One of my favorite Tales games so far in recent memory. I hope it stays as good. I really can't complain too much. I like the story after that plot twist. I hope it stays good as it is. I love the characters. Combat is fun. It has everything you can want in an RPG so far. Again, so far. I'm only 15 hours into the game. I'm not speaking for the whole game, just these first 15 hours. From what I've seen, this game has it all. This is the whole package. My recommendation right now, buy it as soon as you can, because I played the PS4 version. I'm playing the PS4 version, rather. And if you get the PS4 version, get that, because the PS4 has almost no RPGs. It has Child of Light, which is a fun little game. It has Type 0, which is a piece of shit. I can't remember what else is on there. the PS4 is so lacking in RPGs that I can't even think of any more that I may or may not have played. So, if you have a PS4 and you're an RPG fan, this is a no-brainer. You should get the PS4 version just so your PS4 can get some RPG loving. So, overall, buy it as soon as you can. It's great, despite some hiccups here and there. Don't be mad that don't listen to Japan that your waifu is not in the game, okay? Edna is waifu material, by the way. So, yeah. Overall, I guess that's it. I'm going to play more of the game. Unfortunately, my PS4 is downstairs, and all my editing software, my capture device is up here in my room. I can't really bring all this stuff downstairs to capture it. Like, I have 2 monitors. I have a bunch of shit that I cannot bring down 2 flights of stairs. Maybe I could bring my PS4 upstairs to capture footage for a full-on review when I beat the game. We'll see. That is going to be a major hassle, but I will consider it because, fuck, that's going to be a huge pain in the ass to do. But the Tales series means a lot to me. It's this and Shin Megami Tensei are my favorite RPG series, and Zestiria deserves a full-on review. And so I just wanted to bring that up in case you guys are wondering if I'm ever going to review it. So that's it. This is Swordfish. I'm looking forward to playing more Zestiria, and you guys should buy as soon as you can if you're a Tales fan. So peace out. Swordfish out.